Hannah Blake, a proud and self-proclaimed master of mayhem, stared intently at the holographic image of Admiral Zaravoth Quillar, her eyebrows raised so high it looked as if they might escape her forehead. The Admiral's tentacles wriggled in what Hannah recognized as discomfort. "Miss Blake, I assure you this is no joke. The Galactic Federation urgently requires your unique skills," the Admiral stated. Hannah leaned back in her chair, kicking her feet up on the console of her battered spaceship. The subtle approach. An ironic name for such a ship. Aha, and by unique abilities. You mean my talent for turning every situation into a glorious dumpster fire of chaos and awesomeness, right? I wouldn't quite phrase it that way, but yes, essentially, Zaravoth Quillar replied. A slow grin spread across Hannah's face. Well, hot damn, color me intrigued, Admiral Rivigzel. What's got your tentacles in a twist this time? Zaravoth Quillar's eye stalks twitched in annoyance. That's Admiral Zaravoth Quillar, and I'd appreciate it if you'd remember that. As for the situation, it's a matter of galactic security. Our top elite training facility has been compromised. Hannah's grin widened. Compromised, huh? Sounds fun. What? Did someone steal the secret recipe for that weird blue Jell-O at the mess hall? This is no laughing matter, Miss Blake. Zaravoth Quillar's skin rippled with agitation. The Cosmic Combat Academy is the pinnacle of our military strength. It's where we forge the greatest warriors in the known universe, and now what? Spit it out, Admiral. I don't have all day. Well, actually I do, but that's beside the point. Zaravoth Quillar deflated slightly. We can't even pass our own combat exam. None of our recruits can manage it. Not a single one. Hannah blinked once, then twice, before bursting into laughter so hard she nearly fell out of her chair. Oh man, let me get this straight. You super advanced aliens made a test so hard that even you can't pass it? That's beautiful. It's like a cosmic played-yourself moment. Your amusement is duly noted but not appreciated, Miss Blake, Zaravoth Quillar grumbled. But yes, that's the essence of the predicament. We need someone to recalibrate the system. Wiping tears of mirth from her eyes, Hannah grinned. And you thought of little old me? I'm touched, Admiral, really I am. But why me? Surely by now you've got a whole bunch of other humans to choose from, Zaravoth. Quillar's tentacles twisted in what might have been the alien equivalent of a grimace. Believe me, Miss Blake, you were not our first choice, or our second, or even our 50th, but your reputation precedes you. Oh, shucks, you're gonna make me blush, Hannah said with a mock flutter of her eyelashes. So what's in it for me, besides the sheer joy of messing with the greatest military minds in the galaxy? Zaravoth Quillar paused for dramatic effect. Full diplomatic immunity, a substantial credit reward, he paused again, and, for one standard galactic week, unlimited access to our technology vault. Hannah's eyes lit up like a supernova. Hot damn! Now you're speaking my language. All right, Admiral Zaravoth Quillar, you've got yourself a deal. Point me at this Cosmic Combat Academy of yours. It's time to show the galaxy how a real Death Worlder gets things done. 12 hours and several questionable jumps through hyperspace later, Hannah found herself standing before the imposing gates of the Cosmic Combat Academy. The massive structure loomed against the backdrop of a swirling nebula, all sleek lines and pulsing energy fields. Well, Hannah muttered to herself, they certainly don't do things by halves, do they? As if on cue, a voice crackled to life from a nearby speaker. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Hannah grinned, striking a dramatic pose. The name's Blake, Hannah Blake, Death Worlder Extraordinaire and your friendly neighborhood chaos generator. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And, well, I never had any bubblegum to begin with, but you get the idea. There was a long pause, followed by a confused, what? Oh, for the love of... Just let me in, will you? Admiral Zaravoth Quillar sent me. You know, big guy, lots of tentacles, perpetual look of constipation? Another pause. Identity confirmed. Welcome to the Cosmic Combat Academy, Miss Blake. Please proceed to the main atrium for decontamination and briefing. The massive gates creaked open, revealing a bustling courtyard filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Hannah sauntered in with a spring in her step and mischief gleaming in her eyes. All right, Galaxy, she grinned, cracking her knuckles. Let's see what you've got. Captain Kaldrex Darshell stood ramrod straight in the atrium, his exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights. As the door slid open to reveal a small, pink-skinned biped, he felt his mandibles twitch in disbelief. "You must be joking," he chittered to his second-in-command. "This is the expert Admiral Zarivoth Quilar sent? It looks like it would snap in a light breeze." Catching the last part of his comment, Hannah grinned widely. "Oh, you say the sweetest things, Captain Rivik Zell. But trust me, I'm tougher than I look. Now who's ready to have some fun?" Kaldra Ix Darshell's antennae quivered in indignation. "This is not about fun, human. This is about the security of the entire galaxy. Our combat exam—" Yeah, I got the memo," Hannah interrupted, waving a hand dismissively. "Big bad test. No one can pass it. Galaxy's greatest warriors reduced to tears, yada yada. So where's this mythical exam of yours? I'm itching to give it a whirl." Kaldra Ix Darshell's compound eyes blinked rapidly in succession. "You want to attempt the exam now? Without any preparation?" Hannah shrugged. "No time like the present, right? Besides, I've always been more of a learn-by-doing kind of gal, so point me at your worst." "I can handle it," Hannah said confidently, stepping forward. The captain exchanged a nervous look with his second-in-command, who only shrugged her wings in exasperation. "Very well," Kaldra Ix Darshell replied, his voice dripping with skepticism. "Follow me to the simulation chamber, but don't say I didn't warn you." As they made their way through the winding hallways of the academy, Hannah couldn't ignore the curious, scornful, and even pitying glances from the alien cadets she passed. She shot them each a wink, a cheeky grin, and occasionally threw in a finger gun, just to keep things interesting. Finally, they arrived at a massive circular door, covered in warning signs written in at least a dozen languages. "Last chance to back out, human," Kaldra Ix Darshell said, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Once you go through, the exam begins, and we can't stop it until either you finish or... well, let's leave it at that." Hannah's grin stretched into something alarming. "Oh, Captain, my Captain, you really don't get humans, do you? Telling us something's impossible is like waving a red flag in front of a bull. Open the door already before I go looking for a secret entrance. Trust me, you don't want that. Last time I did that, I accidentally triggered the self-destruct button. Long story. Classified. Very hush-hush." With a deep sigh, Kaldra Ix Darshell pressed his appendage against the bioscanner. The massive door slowly creaked open, revealing a vast, empty chamber beyond. "Welcome to the cosmic crucible," Kaldra Ix Darshell said with a solemn tone. "May the stars have mercy on your soul." Hannah let out a loud cackle as she walked into the chamber. "Mercy? Where's the fun in that? Catch you on the flip side, Rivik Zell." With a swift motion, the door sealed behind her. Kaldra Ix Darshell turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare the medical bay," he muttered grimly. "And maybe a broom. I suspect we'll be cleaning up small pink pieces in a bit." Inside the chamber, Hannah stood in the center, bouncing on her toes like a boxer eager for a match. "All right, you cosmic funhouse," she called out to the empty air. "Hit me with your best shot." The air shimmered, and suddenly Hannah found herself standing on the surface of a molten planet. Rivers of lava flowed around her, and the air was thick with toxic fumes. A booming voice rang out. "Cosmic Crucible Stage 1. Survive the Inferno of Nixar. Best of luck, candidate." Hannah's eyes lit up, and she grinned widely. "Oh, hell yes! Now this is what I call a warm-up." Without a second thought, she took off running, leaping from one precarious rock formation to another, narrowly avoiding jets of superheated gas and streams of molten rock. Throughout the chaos, she kept up a running commentary that would make any sports commentator blush. "And she's off. Watch as this daring human navigates the hellscape with the grace of a drunken giraffe on roller skates." "Ooh, close call with that lava geyser. Hope nobody was too attached to their eyebrows." In the control room, Kaldra Ix Darshell and his team watched in slack-jawed disbelief as Hannah not only survived, but seemed to be enjoying herself. This is unprecedented," Kaldra Ix Darshell muttered in disbelief. "No one has ever made it past the first stage this fast, and certainly not while narrating their own performance." On the screens, Hannah had somehow crafted a makeshift surfboard out of cooled lava rock and was now riding a wave of molten metal, whooping with joy. "Cowabunga, dudes!" Her voice crackled through the speakers. "Is this the best you've got? I've had hot sauce that's spicier than this!" The scene shifted suddenly, the hellish landscape morphing into a vast frozen tundra. Howling winds whipped ice shards through the air, and in the distance, massive crystalline creatures lumbered ominously. Cosmic Crucible Stage 2. Escape the frost giants of Korth. Survival is highly unlikely, the voice announced. Still smoldering slightly from her lava surfing adventure, Hannah grinned even wider. "Now that's what I call a change of scenery. All right, Frosty, let's dance." What followed was a breathtaking display of acrobatics, quick thinking, and pure audacity that left the watching aliens questioning the very laws of physics, biology, and sanity. Hannah used the ice shards as makeshift climbing picks, scaling vertical cliffs of permafrost. She fashioned a sled from the frozen shell of some unlucky creature and used it to outpace the lumbering frost giants. At one point, she even managed to trick two of the giants into colliding, triggering an avalanche that she surfed to safety. "And she sticks the landing!" Hannah yelled, taking a bow to an imaginary crowd as she reached the safe zone. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal." In the control room, chaos broke out as technicians scrambled to adjust the parameters, convinced that there had to be some malfunction in the system. Kaldra Ix Darshell's exoskeleton had turned an alarming shade of pale green. This is impossible," he hissed. "No one has ever completed 2 stages in a row, let alone with such style." His second-in-command, a living crystal being named Phoenixera, chimed in. "Perhaps we should terminate the exam, sir. Clearly something's gone wrong." Kaldra Ix Darshell's mandibles clicked rapidly as he considered the suggestion, but before he could respond, the simulation shifted again. This time, Hannah found herself standing in what appeared to be a massive library, stretching endlessly in all directions. Books floated through the air, constantly rearranging themselves. Cosmic Crucible Stage 3. Solve the riddle of the infinite library. Your mind is your only weapon here. For the first time, Hannah's grin faltered slightly. Oh boy, I don't suppose you've got a Cliff Notes version? Before she could react further, the disembodied voice began to recite a riddle so complex, it made quantum physics look like child's play. Something strange happened. Hannah's eyes glazed over, and a deep focus settled on her face. In the control room, alarms began blaring, and one technician shouted out in alarm, "Out the human brainwave patterns! They're off the charts! I've never seen anything like it!" One of the technicians exclaimed. Kaldra Ix Darshell leaned in, his compound eyes widening in disbelief. What in the name of the Cosmic Empress is she doing? On the screen, Hannah stood perfectly still, her eyes darting back and forth as if reading invisible text. Books swirled around her in ever-tightening circles, and then, just as suddenly as it had started, it was over. Hannah blinked, shook her head, and grinned. "Well, that was a trip and a half," she said, stretching languidly. "So did I pass?" The disembodied voice seemed to sputter in confusion. How did you—" Hannah shrugged nonchalantly. "Oh, a little intuition, a dash of wild guessing, and a whole lot of not overthinking it. Now what's next? I'm starting to work up an appetite here." As if on cue, the library vanished, replaced by a barren asteroid field. In the distance, a massive space station loomed, bristling with weapons. Cosmic Crucible Final Stage. Infiltrate the impenetrable fortress of Duem. No one has ever succeeded. Attempt at your own risk. Hannah's grin stretched from ear to ear. "Now we're talking. All right, universe, let's see what you've got." What followed was a display of improvisation, daring, and sheer luck that would be spoken of in hushed whispers across the galaxy for centuries to come. Hannah used floating debris as stepping stones, timing her leaps with precision that would make a quantum computer jealous. She repurposed a piece of space junk into a makeshift jetpack, zooming between laser blasts with reckless abandon. At one point, she even hijacked one of the station's own defense drones, riding it like a mechanical bull as she plowed through the outer defenses. "Yee-haw!" Her voice crackled through the comms. "Is this a top-secret military installation or a rodeo? I'm having the time of my life here." In the control room, chaos erupted. Caldraix's Darshell was practically vibrating with a mix of awe and horror. "This is unprecedented," he chittered. "She's rewriting the parameters of the simulation with her actions. It's as though the laws of physics themselves are bending to her will." Phenixra's crystalline form shimmered with excitement, chiming in. "Sir, I think we may need to reconsider our definition of impossible." On the screens, Hannah had somehow managed to turn the station's own gravity generators against it. She was now surfing on a wave of artificial gravity, using it to fling herself past the final defenses and into the heart of the fortress. As she reached the central control room, alarms blared and holographic guards swarmed around her. Hannah struck a dramatic pose. "Honey, I'm home," she called out to no one in particular. "Now, where's that big red button that says, 'Do not push'? 'Cause let me tell you, it's getting pushed." The disembodied voice of the cosmic crucible sighed in defeat. "Simulation complete. All stages cleared. This is unprecedented." Hannah took a bow to an imaginary audience. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal. If you guys even have veal in space. If not, try whatever weird alien meat substitute you've got. I'm not picky." The simulation faded, leaving Hannah standing in the empty chamber once again. The massive door ground open, revealing a crowd of slack-jawed aliens, led by an utterly flabbergasted Captain Caldraix's Darshell. "So, Hannah," she said casually, leaning against a wall that hadn't been there a moment ago. "Did I pass?" Caldraix's Darshell's mandibles opened and closed several times before he could form a response. "Pass? Pass, human? You didn't just pass. You shattered every record we've ever had. You completed challenges that were designed to be impossible. You kicked cosmic butt." "That's one way of putting it," Hannah supplied helpfully. Phenixra's crystalline form vibrated with excitement as she added, "Miss Blake, what you've done here today is nothing short of revolutionary. You've completely upended our understanding of combat tactics, problem solving, and, well, the laws of physics themselves." Hannah shrugged, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. "What can I say? We humans have a knack for doing the impossible. It's kind of our thing. Now, who's up for celebrating? I'm thinking karaoke. You guys do have karaoke in space, right? If not, boy, have I got a treat for you." Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Red lights flashed, and a new voice boomed over the intercom. "Alert! Alert! Unidentified vessels approaching. Hostile intent detected. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Caldraix's Darshell's exoskeleton paled to a nearly translucent shade. "By the Cosmic Empress, it's the Talvok Shrana. But how? We're in the heart of Federation space." Hannah's eyes lit up with excitement and mischief. "Talvok Shrana? Sounds fun. Let me guess. Big, bad space pirates with a flair for the dramatic and a severe case of cybernetic overkill." Phenixra's form shimmered with anxiety. "They're the scourge of the outer realms. No one has ever successfully repelled a full-scale Talvok Shrana attack. We're doomed." Hannah clapped her hands together, grinning from ear to ear. "Well then, looks like today's just full of firsts. All right, Rivixel, Shiny, here's the plan. Round up every cadet, instructor, and janitor in this joint. It's time for some hands-on learning." Caldraix's Darshell's antenna twitched in confusion. "Learning? Human. This is no time for lessons. We need to evacuate. Call for reinforcements." Hannah interrupted, her grin widening. "Trust me, Captain. I've got a plan. It's crazy, it's reckless, and it'll probably give your risk assessment algorithms a meltdown, but it'll work. You want to see why humans are the terror of the galaxy? Well, buckle up, Buttercup. Class is in session." Before anyone could protest further, Hannah was off, sprinting down the hall with a gleam of determination in her eyes. Through the corridors, Hannah barked instructions that ranged from the absurd to the outright impossible. "I need every piece of tech you've got. Toasters, hologram projectors, that strange machine that dispenses blue Jell-O, all of it. And someone find me a space motorcycle. Don't ask why, just do it." As the academy descended into complete chaos, cadets and instructors scrambled to meet her increasingly bizarre demands. Caldraix's Darshell, wide-eyed and clearly unsettled, turned to Phenixra. "We're doomed, aren't we?" he murmured under his breath. Phenixra's crystalline form shimmered, her response ambiguous. "Possibly," she replied, her tone cool. But something tells me this is going to be quite a spectacle either way. Meanwhile, aboard the flagship of the Talvok Shrana fleet, Captain Zanoth Jarkoth, his one organic eye surveying the Cosmic Combat Academy, grinned wickedly. "At last," he growled, his voice a mix of organic menace and mechanical coldness. "The heart of the Federation's military strength, ripe for the taking. Prepare the boarding parties. Today, we feast on their fear." However, his dramatic speech was abruptly interrupted by a burst of static from the communications array. A cheerful, unflustered voice crackled through the speakers. "Well, hello there, you beautiful cybernetic disasters. This is your friendly neighborhood human, Hannah Blake, speaking. Now, I know you're all revved up for some classic pillaging, but here's a counteroffer. How about you turn those shiny ships around and we all pretend this little incursion never happened? No? Well, can't say I didn't try the diplomatic route, all right? Buckle up." Zanoth Jarkoth's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on the view screen. What in the void is a human, and why does it sound so amused? He got his answer immediately, as the space surrounding the academy erupted into the most bewildering display of chaotic combat anyone had ever witnessed. Holographic decoys darted between the stars, confusing targeting systems, and causing several Talvok Shrana ships to fire upon each other. Waves of what appeared to be weaponized space Jell-O engulfed smaller vessels, rendering engines and weapons inoperable. And amidst it all, a small pink biped was seen zooming on a rocket-powered space motorcycle, whooping with joy as she planted explosives, hijacked ships, and generally created the sort of chaos that would give even the most hardened space pirate a nervous breakdown. "Heh ho!" Hannah's voice crackled over the comms. "Now this is what I call a rodeo. Hey, Captain Cyberin, how are you enjoying the show?" Zanoth Jarkoth's organic eye twitched violently. What is this? This isn't warfare. It's awesome." "Spectacular," Hannah answered nonchalantly. "The greatest show this side of the Andromeda Galaxy. Yeah, I get that a lot. Now, are you going to surrender, or do I need to show you what happens when I combine your ship's waste disposal unit with a particle accelerator? Spoiler alert, it's messy, defies physics, and will probably make your mother very disappointed in your life choices." To punctuate her point, one of the Talvok Shrana cruisers was suddenly turned inside out, its crew now floating in a bubble of what appeared to be strawberry-scented soap. "That's impossible!" Zanoth Jarkoth screamed. "Our shields are impenetrable! Our technology is far superior to anything in the galaxy!" Hannah's laughter rang out across the battlefield. "Oh, my sweet summer cyborg, didn't anyone tell you that humans eat impossible for breakfast? Now," she added, her grin widening, "last chance, surrender, and maybe I'll teach you how to play poker. Trust me, with all those cybernetic enhancements, you'd have one hell of a poker face." For a moment, complete silence descended across the battlefield. Then, to the shock of everyone involved, the Talvok Shrana fleet began powering down their weapons. We surrender!" Zanoth Jarkoth's defeated voice came through the comms. Just make it stop, please." Hannah grinned ear to ear, performing a victory loop on her space motorcycle. "Now that's what I like to hear. All right, everyone, party at the academy. First round of weird blue Jell-O is on me." As the stunned cadets and instructors of the Cosmic Combat Academy began to celebrate their impossible victory, Captain Kaldrex Darshell approached Hannah, his mandibles twitching with a mixture of awe and uncertainty. "Miss Blake," he chittered, I don't even know what to say. You've saved us all. You've done the impossible. You've kicked ass and taken names." Hannah grinned widely. "All in a day's work, Rivixel. Now about that technology vault Admiral Zarivoth Kolar promised me?" Kaldra X Darshell's exoskeleton paled even further. The technology vault? But that contains some of our most advanced and dangerous inventions?" Hannah's grin widened into something far more unsettling. "I know, exciting, isn't it? Now come on, we've got a galaxy to revolutionize. And maybe, just maybe, I'll teach you guys how to have some real fun along the way." As Hannah sauntered off, already spouting ideas that made Kaldra X Darshell's antennae curl in terror, the captain couldn't help but feel that the galaxy would never be the same again. And somehow, despite all his training and better judgment, he found himself actually looking forward to it. And that, kids, said the storyteller, is how Aunt Hannah single-handedly revolutionized galactic warfare, turned the Cosmic Combat Academy into the most sought-after educational institution in the known universe, and introduced the concept of spring break to 17 different species. The group of wide-eyed alien children stared up at Admiral Zarivoth Kular, their various appendages twitching with excitement. "But Uncle Zarivoth Kular," one of them chittered. "What happened next? Did Aunt Hannah really rebuild the Talvok Shrana fleet into Zarivoth?" Quilar's tentacles twitched in what could almost be considered a chuckle. "Oh, that's a tale for another time," he said with a sly grin. "Let's just say thanks to her, you can now have a hot, fresh, Sawblat's infinite-topping pizza delivered anywhere in the galaxy in 30 minutes or less, or your money back." One of the eager children piped up, and did she really challenge the hive mind of Zalkreth Uran to a dance-off for control of the Omega Quadrant? "Not only did she challenge them," Zarivoth Kular replied, a hint of disbelief in his voice, "but she managed to teach the entire hive mind the Macarena. We're still dealing with the fallout from that disaster." The children clamored for more, their excitement rising. At that moment, Zarivoth Kular's communicator beeped. He glanced at the display and immediately felt a surge of both excitement and dread wash over him. "Speaking of our favorite human," he said with a grin, "it seems Aunt Hannah is about to dock. She's just returned from her little trip to the uncharted zones." The children erupted into a chorus of cheers. Zarivoth Kular raised his tentacles for quiet. "Now remember, no touching anything she brings back until it's been properly decontaminated. We don't want a repeat of the sentient bubblegum incident, and for the love of the Cosmic Empress, do not let her anywhere near the quantum foam manipulator. Last time she turned the entire station into a giant bouncy castle. It took weeks to fix the artificial gravity." As if on cue, the docking bay doors slid open, and in strode Hannah Blake, looking as fresh as ever, thanks to some creative temporal shenanigans she'd worked out a few years back. She was wearing what could only be described as a spacesuit made entirely of disco balls, and trailing behind her, was that a herd of six-legged, fire-breathing space llamas? "Honey, I'm home!" Hannah shouted, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. "And boy, do I have some stories for you all. Who's up for a little adventure? I found this amazing little black hole that would make the perfect water slide." The children cheered even louder, while Zarivoth Kular fought off the inevitable wave of stress that was rapidly coming on. But despite his impending meltdown, he couldn't help but smile. Life with Hannah Blake around was many things, but never dull.